What's going on, everybody? It's Mira D. I'm here today to do our new moon reading for June. The new moon is today. Started around 3:30 this morning, and new moons are all about bringing new energy into our lives. It's about beginning projects, about starting things. With this new moon in Gemini, it's really about starting things and expanding communication, networking, things that have to do with things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this reading today. It'll be just a quick one for you guys to see what you need to bring into your lives and everything, and see what type of energies are present around the universe at this moment. So a lot of us may have been feeling that fucking late spring cleaning come in here last month in May and everything. Life is clearing everything out for you. Like, it's kind of just bringing that energy of change. Like, everything that doesn't serve you anymore, it's got to go. Like, so life pushes us into that, because sometimes we can't see what we need to change to be able to be successful, what we need to do to be able to move forward to our next steps of life and growth. So with that being said, life just came and swept that shit right out for us, especially with Saturn being conjunct Pluto. It causes a lot of like change and responsibility, and more so than anything, it rebirths our responsibility to ourselves. Because Saturn is a planet of responsibility, and Pluto is a planet of death, rebirth, regeneration, and kind of changing, burning down the fields and making things back from the ashes. So that's kind of the energy that we've all been experiencing. But thankfully, with this Gemini new moon coming up, we've got the opportunity for success and change. So I'm going to start off by drawing a few cards to see where we are right now. In the present position, we have the Fool. And then crossing that, we have the Five of Wands. So just with those two cards there, in our present position, we see that new beginnings are coming. It's kind of like almost like a leap of faith. Like, so these new beginnings have come about and everything, and you're just kind of walking off blindly into it. Like, it's more of like an intuitive feeling that something needs to change. And a lot of us haven't really logically decided what needs to change, but we're making this change anyway. We haven't decided, oh, okay, well, these are the steps that I need to take. It's kind of almost like very, what's the word? Like spontaneous. It's like spontaneous change, having to try something different. And what's influencing that is the Five of Wands. And with the Five of Wands present here, we see that there's a lot of conflict. So there's been a lot of conflict, a lot of petty battles, a lot of things not aligning, a lot of things like just the harder you try, like the more they seem to like not work out. So the reason that's been happening is because sometimes we try to hold on to things that don't serve us anymore. And when we hold on to things that don't serve us anymore, we find we're pretty much fighting ourselves and fighting our soul from trying to guide us to where we actually need to be. So that leap of faith is what's happening right now with the Fool here. And just like kind of walking into something brand new. And it's really exciting though also. Like, it can be kind of scary, but it's also really exciting because you're finally like easing up and kind of giving yourself that freedom and that kind of trusting in the universe that you're going to get what you need, because obviously trying to hold on to the past didn't really work out so well for most of us. So in the distant past or whatnot, what we're seeing here, the energy that we're clearing from the past is procrastination. Enough said. What we're clearing out from the past is procrastination and whatnot. It's almost like there's this fear that, so we have these ideas about things that we want to do, and instead of just doing them, we kind of like put them off. And there's a lot of different reasons that we do it. Some of us feel like we don't have the time to do it. Some of us are afraid that we're comfortable. We're kind of afraid to like, take a step and try something brand new. So all these ideas that have been kind of just floating up in the air and everything are the things that are being cleared out now. Like, we're learning at this point to trust ourselves. Yes, with the Nine of Pentacles here as well, also in the reverse position, we're learning to trust ourselves and everything, but there's still a bit of procrastination in the just passing. So we've learned to take those ideas and actually feel those ideas here in the distant past. And then what's just passing for us with this energy is kind of like really building the confidence. So maybe you're practicing a lot in the mirror. Maybe you're like singing alone in the bathroom. Like, maybe you're like making meals for like one or two of your close friends or something like that, because you want to start a business and you want to move forward and you want to like figure out how to put your purpose into this world. But you're kind of like taking baby steps and just testing the waters right now, because there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of confidence that needs to be built. Be patient with yourself though, because the confidence will come. It will come, but just realize that you're never going to be ready to take the step. You're just going to have to do it. But that's, like I said, what the Fool is about here. There's a lot of newness here. There's a lot of stepping into something brand new, stepping into new territory, which is fucking beautiful. So yeah, so you're learning your strength right now, and that's what's just passing. But in your known sources, one of your biggest fears, oh, we got lots of knights up here. Alrighty. Oh, and the sun. Okay. So, with the balance of fire and water with the Knight of Cups, and I'm sorry, the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands with the sun. All right, so you got the balance of fire and water here. So now what's happening is you, in your known sources, you are trying to decide whether to take action or whether to, so you're trying to decide whether to take action or whether to like kind of sit back and feel the situation out. And the answer is both, because, we get this thing sometimes where we get like paralyzed by not taking action. So there's a thing where we have to like kind of tune into our emotions and to kind of get these things on the same page. So we have to pull that action aspect of ourselves into play with the emotions. So it can't just be a purely logical thing. It can't just, you have to get those things into balance, because we have to remember that all things are about balance and all things are about bringing into the realm, about breathing into the realm of all things. So here with these two, also there's a warning in the known sources to be careful who you're sharing your plans with. This is a big time for you to kind of keep things to yourself and kind of hold those things back and feel out when the situation is important. Action can be important. However, if we're just constantly acting and we're not like taking time to sit back, take time to ourselves, reassess, breathe, feel out the situation, we're never going to be able to get anywhere. Networking is important, but everybody does not mean us well, and that's one of the big things here. So with the sun present in this position, though, this is to say that in your known sources, that when you do find that balance, that it is going to be the best time of your life. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the thing that you've been really, really, really striving toward. This is your purpose in life. This is the thing that brings you the most happiness. This is what you do for a living that brings you both prosperity and happiness all in the same swoop or whatnot. So, just looking at the whole reading with what we have so far is, taking that step, getting past those insecurities, and then move into a phase of balance between action and emotion, and then creating the most beautiful thing that you possibly can with this new moon. It's bringing you a whole lot of like new energy. So here in the immediate future, we see the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is about necessary sacrifices. So we're going to have to give some things up. And it's not like we're necessarily giving anything up, because we're actually gaining. Again, back here, we're giving up the things, we're taking away the things that don't serve us, the things that make us comfortable, but that aren't necessarily good for us anymore. So in the immediate future, there's going to be a lot of kind of like shaking off some things. It's going to be difficult, as we see. You're going to make it a little bit harder than it actually has to be, but you'll get there. Because with the Hanged Man being a major card as well, it's a life experience change. Like, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Like, because if you don't shake it, life will. Because with the Ten of Wands here as well, like, Ten of Wands is about really, really, really holding on to things that really don't serve us. Like, we're kind of carrying things in a way that's unnecessary. It's like we're carrying things in this very difficult way. We're making life difficult for ourselves without realizing that life loves us. Life wants us to be happy, and that everything changes. So try looking at the change that comes up in these sacrifices as a gain and not as a loss. It will completely change the way you see the world, and will completely change your life and lead you right into your full-blown purpose. What we have here in your role is the Three of Wands. Again, another card about new beginnings, kind of like having that first step. You've taken that initial step and everything, but now it's kind of hard to see what the outcome is going to be. So one of my things that I would advise you here is, like, instead of wondering what the outcome is going to be, you have to write your own book. You have to decide what the outcome is going to be, but you still have to be open to how it may come to you. So, for example, you've taken a step. You may want to open up a business. Now you've got, now you've got the restaurant space that you need. And instead of being like, well, I wonder what kind of restaurant this is going to be, you have to be decisive and say, well, I want it to be this type of food. I want the inside to look like this. You need to get into real serious detail with what you want your future to look like, because you have the pen in your hand and you get to write your story. And be open to how things may come to you, because sometimes things come to us in ways that we completely do not expect. We meet a person in the grocery store who just so happens to be a menu writer, or we meet a person who just so happens to run shows and be a dancer, and that's what you do, So be open to how things may come to you, but also decide what you want your future to look like, not how it's going to come to you. All right, so that's your role or whatnot, is having a little bit of trouble being able to see the future. But that's good though, you've taken the step, because in your environment, oh my God, we see so many like new opportunities for you to live out your purpose, for you to be connected, for you to feel to do something that you truly enjoy and are passionate about. We see new relationships coming in. We see new feelings about everything. So this whole new moon, this Gemini new moon, is all about bringing in the newness of everything. It's just bringing in like the beauty of exactly who you're supposed to be in this lifetime and what you're supposed to be putting out there. It really is. It's just drawing out all that energy. And so for you, the biggest thing, especially with the amount of water cards that you have in this reading, is to just trust the flow. We spend a lot of time trying to control things and trying to make things into what we want them to be physically, but we have to draw back sometimes, and we have to feel things out and allow the universe to guide us and lead us. We live in a very masculine world, as in do all the time. But there's a time to do, and then there's the feminine aspect of sitting back and being receptive. There has to be a balance between the two. So this new energy, I am so excited for everybody this month, because it looks like goals and dreams are popping up out the woodwork in this bitch. Right here, though, we got the Two of Wands and your hopes and fears. So the warning of this, straight up, is to just not even don't hesitate. Don't hold yourself back because you can't make a decision. So we sit up here and we overthink things sometimes. We're like, okay, well, I could do this, but then we start to think about all of these ways that we can't do it. We start to think about all the ways that this isn't possible. We start to do that, and then we don't act at all, because we start to build ourselves up with this fear instead of building ourselves up in a way that's positive. One of my advices here is to get out of your head. Stop thinking about everything. Pull yourself down in your energy. Draw inward. Breathe. Close your eyes and turn your attention to your heart. And stay there for a while. Feel the energy of what your heart is saying. Ask yourself questions and feel it in the heart. And see how that feels to you. It takes a while to get into the heart because we're so used to being in the head. But practice that, because you'll never make a wrong decision from your heart, because that's where our answers come from. But you can talk yourself into or out of anything if you try to put logic where emotions belong. Emotions are energy in motion. Emotions push us forward. Emotions are the things that bring things into fruition for us. So we have to really pay attention to our heart, where the soul lives. We have to pay attention to that, where our voice lives. So, and we'll never make a bad decision. But also in a position of hopes and fears and whatnot. So whatever this is that's coming up for everybody, whatever this big change and this big movement is that fucking May swept out for us, it is going to be something that is long lasting and something that is concrete. It's not like something lighthearted or something that's going to be small. This is like your life's purpose coming up. This month is when your life's purpose is coming up. So whatever you do is going to be the thing that you carry into the future. It's going to be the thing that you carry out into the world, because we're all given a purpose. And in having that purpose, our purpose is to give to the world. And what we have to give to the world is our own special particular gift. Nobody else in the world is like you. Nobody else was brought here and created to be like you. So the thing is that being your true and most honest self, which is what we've learned back here. Remember that, y'all? We have to get away from these doubts, and we have to practice coming into our own despite other people's judgments, because we have the gift to give to the world. But the only way you can give it to the world is by being 100% truly yourself at all times. Fuck everybody else's judgments, what they have to say about you, what they think about you. That's not your business, what people think about you. It's your business to be who you are, beautiful you, exactly as you are, and put your worth into the world. All right? So in the outcome, we see, alrighty, still a little bit of, okay. So we still see that there's some healing, like toward the end of the month here. We see that there's still some healing that needs to happen. So you've taken the steps. But one of the things that comes up here in the end of the month is the Page of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. Now with all the eights are all about death, rebirth, regeneration. Again, the energy of Pluto, burning down the fields to grow something new. And we have quite a few eights in this mug, and we have quite a few later cards in here, but I'll get to that in one second. But so the main thing about this energy here in the end is that you get to a point, but then there's some subconscious work that has to be done toward the end of the month, because we get all these things rolling, but the thing that gets us and holds us back the most are our subconscious patterns. So you can say you want prosperity, But if you were raised in a lack mentality, then what's going to happen is you're going to get that prosperity. And if you still have the subconscious pattern of the lack mentality, then what's going to happen is you're going to sabotage yourself because it makes you uncomfortable to be in a zone where you're making so much money. It's going to make you uncomfortable to be in a position where you're doing something that you're not used to doing. So this isn't a bad thing necessarily. It's just another step in growth, because we have to, all these things come in steps and layers. All of these things come in steps and layers. So that being said, we have to really, really start to pay attention to the patterns in our life. So whether that's keeping a journal and reading back on it, or whether it's like realizing that you act a certain way in a certain situation and things like that, you have to be able to draw back and ask yourself why. With no judgment, with no fear, ask yourself why. And then what I usually like to do is take time to sit back and breathe into that feeling that I'm having at that moment. And when I breathe into that feeling, I try to draw myself back to the first time I ever felt that feeling, and pick up the root of where this subconscious pattern is coming from and where I learned this behavior from. Like, for instance, when I was a kid or whatnot, my mom would always say things like, if we go on vacation, then our lights will get cut off. Or if we go on vacation, then like the rest of the family, then we're going to, we might lose the house, things like that. So what I didn't realize growing up or whatnot is that I was programmed to believe that something negative would happen if I were to go do anything that I enjoyed. So I used to have really bad anxiety every time I would go on a trip. It didn't matter what kind of job or money I had or whatnot. Like, every time I would go on any type of vacation or trip, it would always like get anxiety, and I always felt like really, really bad and really nervous, and I couldn't enjoy myself and stuff. So one day I realized that, and it wasn't until last year that I actually sat down, and I was on my way to Portland, Oregon to meet some friends, and I was doing pretty well financially, and I ended up realizing that because my mom said those things as a child, that I have a subconscious fear pattern of being able to enjoy vacations and things like that. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but there are things in our lives that affect us that we don't realize it. And that's why it's called the subconscious, man, because the subconscious is all about the things, they're just habits, the things that we don't even realize that we're doing. Our conscious mind is a creative mind. Our subconscious mind is a tape recorder. And the tape recorder records all these things from the time we're kids, all the experiences we have, and we are never aware of them until we start to become aware of ourselves. So that being said or whatnot, at the end here, like toward the outcome, we're going to see a lot of subconscious patterns being undone and everything. So you're taking all the right steps though, and that's the beauty. Like, there's this beautiful thing coming to you. There's this beautiful, beautiful like awakening that's come about. There's this lots of things that have been cleared out for you. There's so many new beginnings coming to you. My God, it's insane. And at the end here, you're going to feel a little bit trapped, but wait for a sign. You're not trapped. That's the thing. It's like you feel trapped in the mind, and you have to wait for a sign. Something's going to come through for you that's going to show you exactly where you need to go next. But yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity here for you. The main thing I see is that you are reaching, mostly the end. You're like in the end of one phase and moving into the beginning. So there's still a few things that need to be cleared out from the last phase. May didn't do it all for you. May got you with some of it, but there's still some stuff to go there. So yeah, you got a lot of that. You got a lot of action energy, a lot of creative energy flowing through here. You've got a lot of prosperity coming to you. You've got the emotional connection. The only thing that seems to be kind of out of the picture right now is the mental aspect of things. But don't worry, because I think that right now is more of a time to trust the universe and not so much of a time to think ourselves into a hole. Like I said earlier, like you can think yourself into or out of anything. So right now, learning to clear out and trust in the universe is the biggest thing for you. So your most prominent numbers here are your 10s and your 8s. So this is a phase of death and regeneration in your life to be able to push you forward to the ending phase, which is the 10, into the next phase of being beautiful you and discovering yourself and becoming who you need to be. We're going to draw a couple cards for advice and for energetic guidance. So with the Queen of Wands here and present, we have It's a woman who learns to operate within her limitations. She is a very beautiful, fierce queen. She is out in these streets doing a damn thing or whatnot, but she also knows how to play her cards right. She's not the type of person who's running around just all willy-nilly, being flashy, things like that. She operates within her limitations. She takes right timing, and she makes sure that she is integrated with herself at all times before taking any action. Energetically, we have, speaking of creativity, with the Tao Oracle deck here, we're going to pull a few cards. All right. So here with the Tao Oracle, we have the creative, which is the active yang principle, strength, dynamism. So this right now is a time to start to tap into that creativity again. And this is where you need to draw that energy of bringing things into fruition. The time for us to sit here and let things... The ideas need to come, as we said back here. These ideas, they have to come to the physical plane now. So we have to work on putting that energy out there and drawing it back into us or whatnot, drawing it here to this plane. With the following, we need to find a group of people. We need to find people, community, a network of people who are who have the same goals and visions as you. And that's one of the things that we have to understand as well, is that we try to, sometimes we surround ourselves by people who don't have the same vision as us, or who don't have the same values. Not necessarily, we don't all have the same vision, but who don't have the same values as we do. And the thing is that if you eventually become like the people you surround yourself with, so if you're around people who are motivated and positive and doing things to move forward with their lives or whatnot, then so will you. If you're around people who are procrastinating and always talking about what they're going to do, you too will become that as well. So we are only as good as the people that we surround ourselves with. And that's just a huge thing. So like attracts like, right? And also, if you're sometimes we get really intimidated because we're oh, those people know so much more. But those are the people you want to be around, the people that know more about the subject that you want to learn. You want to be around people who make you feel uncomfortable, not in a bad way, but people who make you feel uncomfortable because now you're not the smartest person in the group anymore. Now you're the person you're the student, not the teacher. You are the person who is learning. And you know what? In a year's time, or maybe even less, you'll be one of those people as well. And you'll be able to teach those things. And you'll be a lot more well-versed in whatever subject it is that you're trying to learn, whatever thing it is that you're trying to create. We have mentors out here everywhere. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to do all these things to learn something that you really, truly enjoy in life. You can really, really just take life's mentors. Life is one big classroom, and you have teachers every fucking where. So, taking guidance, using your mentors and things like that, paying attention to those things. Mentors can also be books. They don't necessarily have to be people. People write books, but mentors can be dreams, it can come from anywhere. You got spirit guides, you got all kinds of people everywhere that can help you to be on your right path. And of course, you've got yourself. What better mentor than that? Also, in the last place here of advice and energy that we need to bring in is taming the powers of the great. So this is all about self-discipline, concentration, strengthening your character from within, self-awareness, and realizing potential, which I cannot express that enough. You have to be able to discipline yourself. You have to be able to create a routine, whether it's a morning routine. Instead of getting up and getting on Instagram in the morning, the first 8 minutes of our day colors how the rest of our day is going to go. Instead of getting up and putting your attention to the outside world, do something for yourself. Write a meditation, write down your intention for the day, write down a goal, set yourself up, even if it's only a 10-minute routine in the morning, set yourself up for success early in the morning. Set yourself up to be able to make the rest of your day great. Do you really care what those people are doing on Instagram? Or is it just an addiction? Do you really care what's going on Facebook? Do you care more about that than you do your future? That's up to you to decide. But I personally would rather start a morning routine and get myself to the best possible place for myself so that I can be the best possible person for everybody else in the world and give my gifts and let my light shine to the world. So starting a mindful routine in the morning is extremely helpful in being able to change your life and transform yourself into the person that you know that you can be. All right. So overall, I am so grateful for you guys and so happy to have you all here. I'm so thankful for everybody who's listened to this reading, and I am extremely grateful for the energy that this new moon and this month has brought forth. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you all have anything to say about anything you say at all, whatnot. I love feedback, both negative, positive, all of it. It's all good. It's all a learning experience. Also, if you would like a personal reading or whatnot, I'll leave the link to my Patreon down and my Facebook down in the bio. And I hope that everybody has an extremely beautiful and blessed day and enjoy this new moon energy. Lots of new things are coming for you. All right, y'all. Have a great day.